This episode is sponsored by Off the Beaten Path. Use code FEY10, that's FEY10, at checkout to get 10% off all of your music commissions. Thank you so much, Off the Beaten Path. Now please enjoy the episode. Hello everyone and welcome to Fayfinders, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast navigating listeners into the vague and supernatural. My name is Sam and I will be your Dungeon Master for Campaign Elements. Playing with me today is the captivating Caitlin.
I can't believe you're here with us this evening, thank you.
The amazing Amancio.
Hello everyone.
And last but not least, the jubilant Jupiter.
Welcome everybody, it's good to have you here.
Now let us try to restore the elements. Last episode, Luna, Benny, and Anu set out to free the air spirit, traveling to the largest tornado beside the old above-ground village of Smecklin, where they were whisked away into the air, where they walked among the clouds. After another sighting of the dark, shadowy figure, the party faced down both foe and puzzle in order to make their way to a large arena where they fought an air Goliath that was guarding the entrance to the air spirit's prison. Luna, Benny, and Anu managed to free the air spirit, resulting in another vision of the past. After releasing the spirit and finding that the land was no longer plagued by vicious winds, the party traveled back to Smecklin and was given a room at the Casket Tavern, where they made the decision to travel next to Ivriel, the domain of water. After a short chat with Braun, hoping they all know how to swim, the party settled down for a well-deserved rest. We open with Luna, Benny, and Anu waking up from a long rest. The tavern is now bustling, and you see all around you that there's patrons drinking and reveling. You catch eyes glancing over at you every once in a while, with both admiration and some annoyance that your cots were put in their favorite sitting seats, where they like to drink. You hear a light pan flute playing from the other corner of the room, and there seems to be a lot of joy in the air. The town seems to be celebrating the break in the winds.
Oh wow. They're sure at it early, aren't they?
Well, I suppose if I lived underground and suddenly I no longer had to, I would also be celebrating at the wee hours of the morning.
That's fair. I guess maybe we should start tidying up so that there's more space to accommodate everyone.
Yeah, if it's anything like it was back home, it's only gonna get more busy.
Do you think that they dance here too?
I'm sure they do. They dance everywhere. I think it's one of the common things that binds, well, most beings together is some sort of dance, some sort of movement that serves no purpose other than expression.
Benny, you could maybe see, and if they do, by asking.
That's true. More so, I was just thinking that even though Five-Even is so far away and separated, it would still give us like a common, something in common, really.
I was thinking, well, that you should ask someone to dance. And she's kind of like smirking at you.
Benny her pink skin flushes like even more.
I could never. I'm not. So let's pack up.
She's just like rolling her cot up out of the way.
And as you guys are kind of cleaning up your space, you see Braun come over with just the biggest open arms, carrying 3 big mugs of ale, and kind of puts it on the table closest to you guys and just says,
"You guys did it! We've finally been able to go above ground, and we haven't been able to do that in 500 years!
Well, it was just a matter of really putting our heads to it.
Absolutely. I'm genuinely very happy for all of you.
Well, whatever you guys did, it worked. We're gonna start plans for a new settlement above ground today."
That quickly? That's astonishing. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Well, here's some ale on me for your amazing work. Now, not to sound ungrateful, but... And he kind of like plops up onto a stool by the table while you guys are still kind of like packing up your cots, getting your ale. Why are you all doing this? Saving the world business. It just seems like why? I mean, it can't just be because you're doing the right thing, right? Like, you have to be getting something out of it. Come on, tell your old pal Braun. Are you looking for glory or wealth? Oh, is there someone back home special you're trying to impress? There has to be a reason. Come on.
I mean, we were able to restore our home, and it would seem incredibly unfair to not help if we knew how. Plus, we want to rebalance the world. If only one spirit is back, it's not balanced.
he kind of like looks quizzingly or inquisitively at you.
That's really it, just out of the goodness of your heart?
Well, you see, and I appreciate that this may be a little difficult for you to understand. The world is where we live. And so if the world is a bad place to live, then our lives are also, they're not going to be ideal. And so what is there to lose in setting off to try to fix things, try to make things better?
Well, you could at least ask for some cool relic out of it. And if you get one and you don't want it, bring it back to me.
All right. If I get a cool rock or what's it, I'll bring it back here. But if I get a lifetime supply of soup, you're not tasting none of it.
Well, that I will give you. Take your prize. See, I knew they were doing it for some reason.
He kind of chuckles and like pops off the stool and runs back to behind the bar.
I was gonna say that I wanted to experience all 4 seasons in Filoven, but in comparison to saving the world, that seems a little silly.
There's nothing silly with wanting a richer life for yourself and for the people that you care about. I mean, that's really, at the end of the day, why we're out here. We care about people back home. I mean, that's why I'm out here. I don't want them to have to suffer through the cold, through winters where you hardly know whether you're going to get the meat to make it through, where people have to scrounge by because the ground won't take. It's unfair. It's inhumane, and I don't want them to have to live like that anymore. And that's, well, what you're talking about is exactly the same thing. We should all be able to feel the sun on our skins and bathe in lakes that aren't frozen over and have rain instead of snow. I mean, I feel like it will be a nice change.
I couldn't agree more.
Who knows how different it would be to actually not be cold all the time back home. Maybe it would feel more like home.
And to be honest, I would have a lot less burns to treat, Luna, if you'd stop lighting everything on fire back home.
Look, I just want to be warm. That's all I want. And maybe a couple times I put my hand a little too close to the flame. Just once or twice.
That's okay. I just wanted to give you a hard time. Is there anything else you guys want to do before we go?
Finish the sail. That's all. And I'm ready.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so you guys finish up your ale, you've packed up all your cots and left them in a tiny little corner. After you're all done, you start heading back out of the casket and back towards the entrance to Smecklin's underground city. You exit and start making your way south to Ivriel. You leave the town and head southwest towards the border of Ivriel. The walk is long and the ground is still very dry and uneven from all the tornadoes. But as you're continuing, you eventually come across the ruins of a bridge. You can see only an expanse of water ahead of you, and there is lots of rain clouds stretched across the sky. Further into the distance, you can see pockets of light drizzle as well as torrential downpour. And close by you, about 5 feet to the right, you can see that there is a rickety old bridge. There are still 6 planks of wood hanging from a very frail looking rope by 2 rotting spokes that have begun to sink into the ground. So you are finally at the border of Ivriel, and there is just nothing but a vast expanse of water in front of you.
This looks worse than the last one.
You could say that again.
Definitely worse than the last one.
Any thoughts? Any ideas?
Gosh, I don't know.
Swimming is always an option.
I'm not great at swimming. But I could try.
Do you try? Do you try and plop into the water?
How bad does the water look?
So you walk over to the edge and you can see that it looks like an instant drop into a murky depth. The water doesn't look to be poisonous in nature or have any like disease or anything. It just looks like it's incredibly deep, like almost like a piece of land was completely broken off at this border and just the entirety of like an oceanic expanse has just opened up. So as you look down, you can't see anything below the surface. It looks deep as fuck.
I don't like that.
Can you think of anything else?
Is there, by any chance, a boat near this rickety wooden rope?
Benny's gonna wander over and inspect the shoreline, just seeing if someone has ditched something that looks like it would float near where they are.
Yeah, roll a investigation.
Okay. 18 plus 4 for a 22.
Yeah, you are absolutely positive that the only materials you have at your disposal are these 6 planks of wood and these 2 rotting spokes.
So, I gave it a good hard look. We got nothing.
Great. Wonderful. Well...
So...
Do you think if we lashed the boards together that they'd float?
You want to try rafting it?
Maybe. I've only really swam a little bit.
I mean, I don't see how it could hurt, but are we sure these 6 boards could carry all 3 of us? Can I make a check of some sort to determine whether or not 6 boards can hold 3 people?
Yeah, roll a survival check.
Oh boy. That's a 22.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So, you feel like these boards are from a very, like, once long years past, these boards were from a grand bridge that was so large and really well made. And so these 6 planks look like you could either tie them together and it would hold you guys, or you could each, like, sit on one and kind of, like, paddle with another board. Like, it looks like you could finagle it.
All right, well, it looks to me that we could either use some rope and make a raft, or we could each just sit on one board and paddle ourselves around. But I feel like having the raft would be nice. We could put our things down. We could maybe sleep if we have to.
And I think it would be nice if we were all close together in case something happens.
Right, like in case of an underwater owl bear attack or something.
Gotta watch out for those aquatic owlbears. It's quite terrifying.
A bowel, if you will.
No!
I made that mistake once.
Oh my god!
I was more thinking, in case I fell off, that you could help me back on. But you know, aquatic bears. I'd never really thought of that before.
Oh, they're a real threat. You have to be very careful around any body of water. They lurk below the surface.
Benny's eyes go like saucers while she stares at the water.
We've never had to deal with them before because all the water near us was frozen, so we didn't have to worry about it, but now that we're here.
Right. And you see their eyes. Well, you don't see them is the problem. The sun reflects off the water, and it looks just like the glimmer in their eyes that they get before they jump out and get you.
No, you can't be serious.
Benny's gonna shoot one of her dancing lights into the surface of the water to see if she can see anything further.
Amazing. You shoot one of your dancing lights. It glows very lightly as it submerges into the surface. And you can sort of see, like, the bluey greenness of the water as it sort of sinks a little bit down, maybe like a foot. And it just looks like the depths go on forever. And you can't see anything other than just this shimmering little pocket of water. It looks like there is, like, no seaweed, no silt or sediment. It just is a huge expanse of water.
Oh, goodness. Then if we wind up sleeping, we should definitely do it in watches. How does one stop an aquatic owl bear?
I'm sure we'll figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I've never encountered one, so I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Benny's gonna start taking the hempen rope out of her bag.
I've got 50 feet.
Alright. Let's make a raft, then.
Well, are we sure 50 feet is going to be enough? I mean, I've got... I mean, it doesn't look like I have any rope. I suppose I'm more used to, well, taking the bodies off the ropes as opposed to hoisting them up.
I also have 50 feet, so if we need it.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's see how far we can get with my rope, and then if we need it, we've got yours for backup.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you guys start hoisting these planks of wood out of the water. Can I have one person roll a survival with advantage on how you do on making the raft?
I've got a +4.
I have a +6.
Well, by all means.
Too late. Oh, were you rolling? Or am I rolling?
Oh, please go ahead.
Oh, okay.
The +6. Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
I'm like, oh god, what if I do bad?
What if you get a 1 and it's 7?
Natural 14 for a dirty 20.
Perfect. So you manage to get these planks pretty tightly together. It doesn't look like there's going to be too much splash. It's obviously not like treated wood anymore. It's been just floating in this water for quite a long time. So there is a few little like pockets where water can splash up through these cracks in between the planks. But it looks like it's really strong and it's going to hold, and it looks like it's secure enough to hold all of you guys and your belongings.
Now or never.
I suppose we're off.
Oh, all right, here we go.
So you guys get onto this raft, and did anybody decide what you're going to row with?
I've got my staff.
I also have
Okay.
a staff.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I can just strap my shield to the end of my staff and use it like a big oar.
I love that so much. Yeah, so you guys both use your staffs and you start making your way into this expanse of water. It is just as you get further and further away from shore, you see that there is just nothing there. It's just a huge open ocean-style body of water. So, you paddle along, and you've been at this for probably a good, 2-ish hours. It's a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, not really for Anu, because you're used to shoveling, so rowing is not so bad.
It's the same motion, really.
Yeah, realistically. But Jupiter, you're kind of starting to feel like, ooh, these are muscles that I haven't used really in my lifetime. Yeah, and so as you are all paddling, in the distance, you start to see these huge pieces of tree just popping out of the water. So as you're going, you see a small cluster, and they look to be, gigantic. They must be, hundreds of feet tall with how deep this water looks to be. And you just see this small cluster that have bright orange orbs hanging from them.
Is that more fruit?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, but now I'm curious.
I mean, those apples were delicious.
All right, let's set a course.
So as you guys get closer, you can start to smell notes of citrus in the air. You approach and you see that there are so many oranges. There is huge clusters of them, and it looks like they have nice little dewdrops on them, like they're super fresh.
Benny is going to reach out and pluck one, and then smell it, and then bite directly into it.
Okay.
Just watching with wide-eyed, what's gonna happen.
Yeah, so you pick one and you just bite right into it, and you can taste this sort of bitter, hard exterior. It's very grainy and not very good, but as you sort of clamp down and take a whole bite out, you see that there is some of the flesh of the fruit that's inside that gives off the sweetest flavor. And as you have taken this fruit, you see that the water droplets that were on the orange start to move and start sort of flying off of the fruit. And you see that this is happening with all of the rest of the fruit on the tree. All these little dewdrops are just flying past you into the water behind you. You turn around and you can see that there is a large beast starting to form from the water. The creature is entirely made out of clear translucent droplets, and it is beginning to form 5 tentacles, which begin to start reaching towards you. Everyone roll initiative.
Wonderful.
As Benny bites into it, she's gonna be like, the outside doesn't taste like. Oh no! Did I do that?
and just stares at it.
Yeah, it looks pretty mean. It doesn't have any eyes or any distinguishing characteristics. It's sort of just like a weird kraken sort of silhouette, entirely made of water. And Benny, you can go first.
Still holding the orange in one hand, is going to reach out her other hand and cast Firebolt at the water creature.
Sure.
Oh, not good. 12?
You hit.
Oh, okay. 8 points of fire damage.
Okay. Now it is... Or unless you have something else? I'll give you a free action to throw the orange at it if you want.
I don't think Benny would throw it. I think she's so excited to have it that, like, maybe her free action would be to actually tuck it in the front of her cloak.
Okay, you can do that. You can totally tuck it in
I
your
hope that
cloak.
isn't like the puzzle solution to this fight where we have to give back the oranges.
That would absolutely be something that I would do.
Well, Benny doesn't want to give up her fruit.
No, of course. No, you can have your free action to save your orange. You can have it for later.
So she just tucks it down the front of her cloak and readies herself.
Perfect. And now it is the water droplet beast. And it is going to throw 2 tentacles out at Benny and Anu. And I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh dear.
I'm so good at those.
19.
Okay.
17.
Okay, nice. So you both sort of, in this very small section of surface that you have, sort of managed to dodge out of the way of these water droplet tentacles, just kind of coming to slam down as they kind of start to grab you and narrowly miss. Both of the tentacles sort of hit the raft that you're on, and just the water splashes through the cracks in between the planks and goes back into the water as you see them rise back up, ready to strike again. And then it is Anu's turn.
All right. Okay. So I am going to cast... I'm going to cast Bane on... Wait, how far away is the water droplet monster, may I ask?
It's pretty close. It's maybe about, 10 feet away. Its tentacles are quite far, quite long-reaching.
Fantastic. I'm going to cast Bane on it. And it must make a charisma saving throw.
All right.
DC of 15.
17.
Well, that's quite unfortunate.
Slightly.
As my bonus action, I'm going to shriek in awe and terror. And
Please roll a intimidation. I'm gonna give you that. I want you to tell me exactly how you're gonna intimidate this monster.
Oh no, Anu is terrified of this creature. This is a scream of fear.
I thought you were trying to scream at it to be.
No, this is a giant monster made of liquid. It's awful.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Yeah, free action is to cry and scream.
Yeah.
Amazing. Perfect. Jupiter, please take it.
Luna's gonna be absolutely petrified for a second, and then just and cast Guiding Bolt at first level.
Okay.
Natural 16, so math 22.
Yeah, you hit.
That will be 14 points of radiant damage.
Perfect. Okay. Now, back to the top of the order. Caitlin, what's Benny gonna do?
Benny is still unsure about approaching or trying to shift on the raft to get any closer, so she's going to cast Firebolt again at this creature.
Sounds good.
16.
You hit.
And then 11 points of fire damage this time. And she's gonna watch to see if the fire seems like it's doing, like, evaporating this creature, or if it's not having as much of an effect as she thinks it should.
Are you wanting to, like, roll an insight?
If you'll accept that as my bonus action, yes. If not, then I'll wait.
I will accept this as your bonus action.
Okay. And you said investigation?
Indeed. Or insight, sorry.
Insight, okay. 15.
Yeah. So as you're looking at this water droplet monster, you are almost certain, pretty positive, that fire has done nothing.
Guys, the big puddle, I'm not hurting it.
What do you mean? I mean, you're clearly hitting it.
Fire's just kind of, sizzling out. I'm gonna have to try something else.
Sooner rather than later, please. I can start paddling us away if we think that would help.
Let's try a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah, and you've kind of noticed as well, like, as you've been casting these little balls of fire, it's just kind of, like, going into this water droplet monster and then just kind of, like, disappearing on impact with a little bit of steam coming off, which you could have interpreted as melting away the water, but in actuality, it's just taking the fire out. And now, it is the water droplet's turn. And again, I would like for Benny and Anu to roll a dexterity saving throw.
15.
Also 15.
Okay. As you guys are sort of stressed about this fire not having any impact, and it looks like most of your attacks haven't been doing anything, the water droplet monster reaches up its watery tentacles and grabs Benny and Anu and lifts them up into the air, inching them down towards the surface of the water.
Oh boy.
As it does so, they start to be submerged into the watery depths, encapsulated, wrapped around their middles with these watery tentacles.
Not an ideal scenario to be in.
Nope. And Luna, you are left on the raft, watching your friends go under the surface.
And she's just kind of, no. Is it my turn?
It is Mancio's turn.
Okay.
All right.
And Amancio, I'm gonna need you to roll a dexterity saving throw once
Okay.
more to be able to get released.
It's 15 again.
15? Amazing. You are able to kind of like kick and wiggle your arms to get out of the grip of this watery tentacle. You kick your way and you get back up to the surface, and Benny is still being submerged into the water. You can kind of see her like floating and being dragged down as you kind of surface.
Was that my action to escape?
No, you can have one more.
Okay, I'm going to cast, I'm gonna cast Toll the Dead. against this creature. So it must succeed a wisdom saving throw.
16?
The 16 saves. So
Okay.
again, Anu's casting spells and nothing's happening, and he's freaking out. He got dragged underwater. He's splashing in the water.
You're still, like, in the water, just kind of, like, making your way back to the raft in a panic, blindly throwing spells behind you.
And blindly flinging limbs because, not a lot of swimming going on in Philoven.
No, you're barely keeping it above water. And now, Luna.
Luna's kind of panicking because if fire's not going to work, that's like what the vast majority of her arsenal is. She's going to be thinking really hard. And how far away would Benny be at this point?
Benny would be about 5 feet below the surface of the water.
Okay. Luna's gonna cast Thorn Whip at Benny to grab her and try and haul her up.
Yeah, for sure. I am just gonna say, for the purposes of not having friendly fire, that there's no damage.
Okay.
Just roll to hit, and if you get Benny's AC, you'll have Benny wrapped up in the Thorn Whip.
God damn.
What?
It's a nat 1, that's a 7.
Oh no! Poor Benny, still just sinking into the watery depths. Well,
That's all she got.
that's all she got. Okay. So, as you guys are all fighting against this aquatic beast, and are just, like, panicking about Benny and wanting to make sure that she gets back up onto the raft, and Amancio, like, Anu is still, like, frantically getting onto the raft and getting out of the murky depths, you can see that the creature starts to warp in shape and falter in its movements. It's starting to look like the water is almost being, like, punched and shifting, which doesn't seem to be possible because it's water, but it just looks like it's being warped into weird shapes. And you can see that the creature is plunged back into the murky depths as Benny is risen out from the water and plopped back down onto the raft. You can see, just slightly in the distance, a tall water genasi with navy blue hair tied up into a loose bun, paddling towards you on a large stand-up canoe. You can see that there is a large wooden crate filled with fish and a long fishing pole, as well as a clump of net laying in the back of this boat. He looks at you all and chuckles a little bit. The little devil is always making too many waves. Welcome to Ivriel. I'm Nord. Such a pleasure to meet you. We don't usually get visitors.
You're acquainted with... And Anu points to the area in the water as he's splashing that is behind him where the creature was. You're acquainted with that thing?
Oh yeah, the Drowner always likes to pop up every once in a while. It's not a big
His
deal.
name is the Drowner. The Drowner is his name.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so reassuring and a lovely Drowner to be greeted by indeed.
You just let him run around and just attack everybody?
Oh, no. That's why we don't usually come out to this kind of area, but I could hear some screaming all the way back over in the fishing area that we have designated for us within the city bounds. And I just thought...
there must be someone else out there still in danger, because we weren't screaming. We were holding our own.
I absolutely could see that.
Holding her own. And at that point, Luna turns to Benny and is just like helping her up and like, oh my god, are you okay? Are you okay? I tried to grab you. I couldn't do it. Are you okay?
I'm alive. Decidedly not a fan of deep water.
Well, it looks like your raft, you did a great job. He kind of eyes it like, wow, they really didn't do a great job. But, like, looks back at you like, yeah, but, if you would like, you can hop onto my boat, and I can take you back to the village proper, and, you can dry off.
Benny looks at this Genasi like they have just said, like, the most romantic words she has ever heard in her entire life. And she, like, plunks herself off the rickety raft and, like, doggy paddles, the most abysmal doggy paddle you've ever seen, towards this other boat.
He, like, reaches down and grabs you from under your armpits and just, like, hoists you up like you weigh nothing and just, like, plops you down on your feet and just puts his hand on your shoulder like, welcome. Nice to meet you. I'm Nord.
Hi, Nord. I'm Benny.
Such a pleasure.
The name's Anu. Thank you for your brave and valiant rescue from your pet friend. I'm still not quite sure what your relationship is, but, you know, thanks for getting it out of our hair.
Oh, anytime. He's just kind of a what do you call? A local mascot, if you will.
Why would you want that thing to be your mascot?
Well, we just kind of have this mentality of we don't bother the drowner doesn't bother us, we just kind of live harmoniously.
Right. So we made the foolish mistake of bothering the guy named the Drowner.
Well, I mean, did you touch the oranges with the dewdrops?
Luna looks over at Betty.
Benny pulls, like, the bitten orange out of the front of her cloak.
I was curious and hungry.
Oh, well, if you're hungry, you can go and have some of that fish that's already been, smoked. And he kind of, like, grabs out this little canvas, pull string bag and undoes the ties and kind of passes you out a couple of pieces of this smoked fish.
Benny gracefully, like, accepts it, but also stuffs the orange back into her cloak.
You know, you're not supposed to eat the outside.
I've figured that out the hard way. Not great, but the inside.
And Benny pulls the orange back out and starts to, like, fumbly kind of, like, peel pieces back to be able to hand some to Anu and Luna.
Yeah, Anu chows down on the orange, of course.
So is Luna.
Well, where are you heading? Ivory'll sound good?
That's as good as any place, I suppose.
That honestly sounds exactly like where we were headed.
Perfect. That's exactly where I'm headed. So it's a one-stop shop. Amazing. Take a seat. Take a load off. I'll take care of this. And he just starts, like, speed paddling. There's, like, a little bit of waves in his wake.
Luna's just kind of staring, like, how on earth is he doing that so quickly?
Down next to you, Luna, Benny is literally, like, white knuckle holding onto the side of your cloak because she is now terrified of water.
Are you okay?
If I said yes, that would be a lie. Do you think there's more of those things? Alongside the aquatic owlbears? Oh, I don't want that either.
Luna kind of glances at, like, leans over to Anu and is like, should we tell her that we were just playing around about that?
I don't know if it will make much of a difference at this point.
I feel like it might just upset her more.
Yeah, best to let sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
And
like,
Anu turns... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Luna leans over and is like, you know, now that I think about it, I think owlbears might actually be more of a northern thing. Yeah, the aquatic owlbear more northern. I don't think we have to deal with those here.
I really hope not. Because if they're anything like that drowner and my spells can't do anything, I don't want to go.
And she, goes to look over the edge with one eye and then just closes her eyes and holds back onto your cloak.
Anu turns to our host and says, have you ever considered going into grave digging? It takes a lot of back muscle, and I can see that yours are very well developed.
Oh, thanks for noticing. I row a lot. We unfortunately don't have soil around these parts, so no, we do water burials. It's quite effective.
Right. That, I suppose that does make more sense, but hey, I mean, that could change soon, is all I will say.
What do you mean? That we're eventually gonna have soil?
I mean, I don't want to get your hopes up or anything, but me and my friends over here, we've been we're from Philoven, you see, and we've been trying to find the spirits and set them free.
Huh. So you're intending to change our entire way of living by taking away our water? And altering a 500-year thriving fishing business?
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't take away all the water. There'd be some
Think of it this way: less water, but the same amount of fish. It's a no-brainer. It's going to be way easier to catch.
Okay.
Maybe even no more drowner. Seems like that's a bit of a thing that might be good.
It's very interesting perspectives. I'll have to ponder them. And Nord continues to row, and you are taken to a large cluster of trees that you can see coming up from the distance. You can see that the trees all have large wooden structures connected by rope bridges built into the tree. There are lots of canoes scattered around, and as you get closer to the village, you can hear people calling from their boats, selling their freshly caught hauls, and you can hear some people yelling, "Oysters! Oysters for sale!" Some people are yelling, "Fresh fish!" That sort of thing. And Nord takes you over to one of the trees that has a long rope ladder that plunges into the water, dangling from a landing. He lets you guys out onto the rope ladder before he starts rowing to slightly around the tree to a collection of ropes that are tied around so that people can land their boats. He then jumps off and into the water and then swims over to the rope ladder to join you to climb up. Once you have reached the landing, you see a small population of treetop dwellers. They all, or some seem to be sitting outside their homes fixing fishing nets. Others seem to be using pulley systems to bring up cargo from their boats far below. You can see inside one hut as he's kind of walking you across the rope ladders that someone is sort of leaning over a large cauldron, and you can see something bubbling inside. And Nord says, "You know, I think that the town matron would just absolutely love to meet you. We barely ever get visitors. This is great tourism."
We would love to meet the matron.
Perfect. I'll take you to her right now. Oh, by the way, she's my wife.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. I'm pretty proud of that accomplishment.
Good for you, pal. I mean, I don't know if it's your accomplishment so much as it is hers, but I'm sure you're proud of her as well.
Look at you. You're such a flirt.
Finding your person should be applause-worthy too.
You're very right, Benny. I apologize.
Well, I'm flattered that you think that I was the accomplishment. But anyways, we'll digress.
Not quite what I was getting at, but...
Okay, well, I'm gonna just take it as a compliment. Yeah, and he does a little, like, finger gun in your direction. So he leads you... Or, no, sorry, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say, Anu, like, replicates the gesture back, but doesn't really understand what it is or what it means. It's just like, yeah, you too.
So he leads you further across these treetop rope bridges, and you can see that there is quite a large wooden structure, and you are led inside. You can see the matron, Corella, is a half-siren with turquoise hair braided with pearls. She is sitting on a throne made of coral in the largest of the treetop houses. She has a warm smile. She is warm in her greetings, and you get the sense that this woman is liked by all. As you enter what you can only describe as an attempt at a throne room, you see that there are 3 people kneeling in front of her, offering up some oranges, some with sea glass, and some with a small stack of gold and pearls wrapped in seaweed. And she says, "Thank you so much for this month's tithe. Our land is full of bounty, and we have so much to be grateful for. Your work is appreciated. This truly goes a long way, as to support our water genasi divers. Return now to your own villages and continue your good works. Until next month, my dears." She waves them away with a beaming smile, so wide and vibrant you can see that her teeth are like sharp little spear tips in her mouth. As she watches her people leave, her gaze lands on you, and Nord walks over to stand beside her. She greets you. "Welcome to Ivriel, my honored guests. What can I do for you on this fine day?"
This might seem out of place, but by any chance, last week-ish, did you have an earthquake and it open a new cavern?
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. We haven't had any earthquakes in over 500 years.
You're absolutely sure you haven't felt anything and noticed anything weird?
Oh, quite positive. If there was anything of that nature below the surface, my water genasi soldiers and divers would have informed me.
Right, well, do you know where those divers normally hang out, where they like to spend their free time?
Oh, they are all over all 4 of my villages. They are both our protectors from some of the more aggressive beasts of the deep, but also here to maintain order and to ensure the safety and thriving of my people.
Well, where could we find them in this village? Where do they like to hang about?
Oh, well, when they're not in the water, they would be either in their barracks or in town on their off time doing some shopping. We have the most absolutely wonderful village. I do suggest you take a look at our workshops and to our tavern and just enjoy sightseeing. We are most blessed by the water spirit here.
Is she being genuine?
You, what specifically are you looking at? Like a particular sentence?
No, just like, especially with the last line being like, we're blessed by the water spirit, like, is she putting on a front? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Roll an insight check on that.
12.
Corella sees this whole abandonment situation as a blessing. The water spirit has put a blessing on this land. That's the vibe that you're getting. Yeah, you think she's genuine.
Okay, but she views the abandonment as more of like, this is amazing.
Yeah, that they were like, her people were genuinely blessed. Like, the mentality she's giving off is like, their patron spirit is water, so what more could be better than more of the element that they worship?
Benny's now newfound fear of water, realizing there's no soil, she's like, what possibly could we be looking at? So she just looks puzzled. She's like, oh, please see the sights. Of what? More water? Like, she's just puzzled.
Well, if you don't have any other questions for me, and she kind of puts a hand over her heart, she says, oh, I do hope that you will stay in the town. Please enjoy everything that Ivriel has to offer. Eat, drink, swim, go on a boat ride around all of our 4 treetop villages in my domain. Of course, there's Lapis, there's Coastland, there's Flotsam, and then Ivriel, which is, of course, my domain, where I reside. So I have a bias and think it is the most wonderful of the 4. We do have the most wonderful farrier named Lotus, and always has the best anecdotes about all of the villages. I'm sure that they would be absolutely delighted to take you around.
Right, of course. I think perhaps we might just start with a stroll, as we're not very used to the water yet. Yes, of course.
And just then, a group of water genassis bursts into the throne room, carrying a large and heavy-looking object that is covered with a sort of, cottony, threadbare blanket of sorts, as well as a small canvas shoulder bag. One of them, with chopped teal hair, steps forward and says, "My lady, we found something." Corella's smile falters just slightly as she says, "Oh, dear Brian, we have guests. Can this not wait?" Brian looks at all of you and then back to the matron and says, "Of course, my lady. We will bring this to the council room and await you. My apologies for the intrusion." And Brian and the 2 other water genassis leave the room in a rush, and Corella turns back to you. "Now then, allow me to do you the great honor of organizing a guided tour. River, if you don't mind." And you see that there is a wood elf with half-shaved head and shoulder-length auburn hair comes walking up from the right side of the room. They smile at you and say, what shall we do first? Perhaps a tour of this village? It is the central one, and though I of course also might be biased, I think it is the most grand. River begins to escort you out of the throne room, and as they're sort of like pushing you towards the door, like filing you out, you can see that Corella has rised from her throne and is slowly starting to walk to the other end of the room, to the back door, where she slips out, always with a smile on her face. River kind of escorts you about 10 feet away. The door to this throne room hut has closed, and it's just smiling and waiting for you guys expectantly. What would you like to do first? The world is your oyster.
Where did the people with the thing go?
Oh, that's that's of no consequence. Just to the council room. No need to worry about that.
it's not a worry. We're travelers from afar, and we're pretty good with iniquities and finding out the history of things.
Well, it's just to the council room. That's just the hut behind the throne room. But I would suggest that we go to the Drowned, which is the tavern that is run by my cousin Rain, and it has the best grilled fish, as well as an incredible, delectable seaweed ale, which I know it's a little bit of an acquired taste, you know, it can be a little bit salty, but worth it.
That sounds amazing, but I'm really interested in what they took to the council room.
Oh, just put it out of your mind. There's nothing to worry about. There's no war in Bossing Say. How about we go to the tavern? Or, how about even better, I can take you on a tour around our villages. Lapis is like the next best one, you know, it is the jewel of this. It's just like the second best place. Highly recommend. How about we go there? There's some cool shops.
This whole time that he's kind of like talking about stuff, I like lean over to Anu very quietly. How good at you are sneaking around?
I'm not quite certain. I can give it a shot, but I mean, and Anu kind of gestures at the various baubles and trinkets, not to mention the, I believe it's scale armor. Yep, scale mail armor that he's wearing. He's like, I'm not quite sure this is the best for slipping out unnoticed. What about you?
I don't think I'm very good either. If I gave you some assistance, do you think you could do okay?
I can definitely try my best.
And he kind of like abruptly turns around to you guys and is like, you know what? I have the best idea.
A bathroom!
How about... Oh,
I think a bathroom. Yes, it was quite a long trip on that raft.
You do have those here, right?
Right?
Of course we do. But I was gonna say, after that then, that we should go talk to Lotus. The best anecdotes, I'm telling you. The source of information on everything you'd want to know here.
That sounds lovely. Bathroom first, and then to Lotus.
Yes.
Okay. And River starts to lead you a little bit further down to where the tavern is. You walk into the Drowned and you see that people are just kind of like having a great time. It looks like most people are quite happy here. It looks like the living situation that everyone has is quite happy. Kind of points you into the back where there's some like curtained off areas. The chamber pots are in there.
Thank you.
I'll wait here for you.
Perfect.
I guess we all file into the room then.
Yeah.
And you can kind of hear River like yell over to the bartender, who is a human woman named Rain, and River's just kind of like, "Hey Rain, get some seaweed ales. I have some people who would love to try them."
Oh boy.
Okay, so I don't know what you guys were saying, but I'm assuming it was a plan. We need to know what they were hiding. This place gives me the creeps.
Definitely, there's a very odd feeling. I was seeing if Anu was any good at sneaking around. What about you?
I am not that stealthy. Let me think about,
I might be able to help someone out, but I think one of us should go and see if we can figure out what's going on, and then the other two will distract.
Well, yes, but how are we going to explain the absence of one of us? It's not like we're a large party. There's just the three of us.
one of us is about to have the worst food poisoning you could possibly imagine in the history of the world.
Well, he said something about seaweed ale. Maybe someone could have a sip and then fake a reaction and hide in the toilet.
Shouldn't be too hard.
I'm thinking we just leave whoever it is in here. And we go out, we're like, oh god.
Okay. Who do we think it should be?
Well, I'm not terrible, I suppose. I can always take my armor off, too, and throw it in my bag or something.
Okay, Anu.
Okay. And then hearing that Anu's gonna do it, I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder and cast guidance.
Okay, and Anu is going to take off all the scale mail, so he's just wearing his robes.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll try to sneak into the council room if you two want to distract River.
Yeah. I think I have an idea. Is there any windows in here?
Not really. It's kind of like there's a small slit in the top of, like, just a few inches from the ceiling, sort of like a ventilation system, but there's no, like, actual window.
So he would have to sneak back through the tavern?
Basically.
Well, maybe we should go ahead with that plan where I can just pretend to be really sick from the ale, and then I can, say I try to retire to my chambers, and then I take off for the council room, but I don't want to leave you to, entertain River for who knows how long.
It'll be worth it if it's gonna help us figure out where we need to go.
Okay. Benny and I are going to go back out there. And I am going to try and get him to not be looking anywhere between the door to this room and the door to the front. Ready, everyone?
Well, how am I going to know when he's not looking?
I will be very, very loud.
All right.
And Luna takes like a... All right. And what was the village that he was talking about that he thought was the best?
Ivriel is where you are right now, and they were saying that it's, like, this is the best one, but Lapis was the second best. And that you could go on a boat tour with Lotus, because Lotus is, like, the farrier, and they would be able to, like, show you around the different villages.
Okay. Luna's gonna walk out and go stand next to them in a way that would have their back facing the doors and just immediately be like, okay, so obviously we're here right now, but you said that Lapis was really, really good, and I just need you to tell me everything that there is to know about that place. I'm just so excited to learn it all.
Well, I'm super happy to show you. I actually have a lovely tour planned because Lotus was just in here while you guys were in the bathroom for a suspiciously long amount of time. I don't know how you guys are traveling, especially on the water. I know some people get a little bit sick because, first time and stuff. Get your sea legs.
Yeah, I've never been on water before. It's really strange, so...
I can imagine. But it's the best. You'll get used to it. But Lotus is actually setting up a ferry ride for all of you right now. So, once your other friend comes back, we should all get going on the boat.
Well, the thing is I don't know that, water travel, it's so crazy. I don't know if he's going to be good to go back on the water, so it might just need to be Benny and I for a bit while he gets his stuff figured out. And, she's, kind of leaning towards, her head towards the door, and, to see if Anu can,
Yeah.
As this is happening, I'm gonna roll for stealth with guidance. That just gives +1 d4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And River is kind of like already like agreeing with you, so it's gonna be really easy. Because they're like, yeah. So I can always take you down to Lotus, come back up after, and then just be here for when your friend comes out.
But I was so excited to have you on this tour. You were so enthusiastic. I think Anu will be just fine, and I would love to have you come with us, please. And she gives like her most like brilliant smile that she can at them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm definitely gonna take you to the boat. Let's go. And Anu, you can be rolling your stealth now to try and like sneak behind them as they're sort of walking out the door and like past back over to the throne room area.
Absolutely. That is going to be a 16 plus 3 from the 1d4, so that is 19 for stealth.
Oh yeah, you're like Pink Panthering it right now, like didn't, and you're just like kind of like scurrying towards the bar, peeking, looking, scurrying back down, and like just waiting for them to get out of sight before you like rush out the door. And totally successful. Patrons are looking at you a little bit weird, like, oh, what is this guy doing? But River doesn't see you at all, and nobody says anything. They just kind of look at you like, interesting. So River is going to take you guys all down to the rope bridge that'll lead down into Lotus's boat, and Anu is heading over towards the council chamber.
Yes.
Let's start with Benny and Luna. So Anu is making his way over. Benny and Luna are being led over to this rope bridge. You can see in this boat there is a little forest gnome who's just kind of like looking up at you guys like, hi! I'm so happy to be able to take you on this tour!
We're so happy to be going on this tour. Right, Benny?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little nervous about the water. We don't have a great relationship so far. So maybe take it slow with me.
Oh, for sure I will. Don't even worry about it. I'm very good with first-timers.
And there's something innately comforting about this gnome-like figure, so Benny extends her hand to be helped into the boat.
Yeah, you're lowered into the boat and you find a nice little spot. This is sort of a bigger canoe situation. It looks almost like a big gondola. So Lotus is like sort of a standing at the back kind of a situation with the big oar, while you guys sit throughout the seats that are scattered in rows along this canoe.
As soon as they're sat, Luna just leans over to Benny, like putting her hand on Benny's hand, and just goes, would you like me to get out my rope and we can tie ourselves together? That way if you get pulled under, I can pull you up?
Maybe. I don't want to rock the boat, so to speak. But I'm feeling pretty nervous.
I'm okay with that. I was terrified when I couldn't get you up because I couldn't get the rope to you, so this way we're already connected.
Thank you, Luna. That's really kind of you.
Luna will take like about 10 feet of the rope and like cut it and like tie a little handle on each end and give one to Benny.
Thank you. So, Lotus, there were 4 villages. There's Ivriel, Lapis, Coastland, and what was the 4th one?
Flotsam. And that one's, we're probably not going to go to there today.
Well, we are excited to see wherever it is you take us.
Well, I'll tell you. Lapis, beautiful. Coastland, not too bad. Flotsam, we do our best. So let's go to Lapis. I can tell you some really fun tidbits. You know what's really exciting? Is that a new whirlpool just formed over there? Just like, I don't know, 20 feet away from the town. It's pretty cool. We have the water genasties exploring it. They have these really cool devices. They're called like bubblecraft, where there's just like these little like nostril plug things, and then when they tap them, they turn into these cool bubblehead things where you can breathe underwater for 8 hours. That's a fun anecdote. And she's just gonna start like rowing you guys out to sea.
The whole time Luna is like, has like that very like wide-eyed, like kind of forced smile, kind of like nodding along, just like not used to this like cheeriness, and is like just trying to like, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So you guys are getting rown across the water, talking about fish trade and the thriving pearl industry and the amazing sea glass vases that they make, and just all of these little like tidbits about how the water domain operates now, and how everybody is really enjoying having all this water. They were all truly blessed by the water spirit, and, you know, having so much water and having all this abundance. They feel so grateful that the water spirit deigned to give them such a plentiful supply of their element. And we're gonna head over to Anu, who is sneaking his way through the town. You pass people. They seem to kind of just like nod, smiling at you, like, "Ooh, tourist! Welcome to our beautiful little village." And you make your way back towards where the throne room hut was. You can see that there are some water genasties around, but not like too crazy. Everything seems really relaxed right now. And you see that there's sort of like extended platforms where you could go around the hut. And the water genasties seem to only really be on the right side, looking out across the water.
Okay, can I take the platforms around the left side?
Absolutely, you can.
All right, I will do so, and I'm looking for a way into the council chamber.
Yeah, so as you're kind of veering around the throne room hut, you see that there is a much smaller hut that's sort of like 30 feet away. Similarly on this same like expansive platform, it looks like instead of rope bridges, they really built up where the matron lives and kind of operates and works. So there is a solid wooden bridge built into the trees that leads over to this smaller hut, and it looks like that would be the place to go because that's the next building.
Okay, I'm gonna head over there and try to make sure no one can see me.
Yeah, so there is like 6 windows around this hut. The door is in the center, so like basically the platform leads straight to the door. And then you can see that some of the windows have curtains drawn, some of them don't. So you can like creep up with your 19 in stealth
You peer through one of the windows, and it looks like nobody is inside right now. There is a very dimly lit lantern that's like an oil lantern that is illuminating the room, and it looks just like tables and chairs and stuff in there, as well as a large something on the table.
Sorry, does there appear to be anyone in the room?
No, it looks completely empty.
Fantastic. Does this window look like it opens?
There's no, like, glass or anything. It's just, like, a hole in the wall that is the window.
Amazing. I slipped through the hole in the wall.
Yeah. So you clamber in through the window, and you see inside of this hut, that is the council room, there is a very large driftwood table with matching chairs, and you can see that there is a huge piece of stone that has been uncovered from this blanket. This looks to be like the thing that was brought into the throne room. It has been uncovered, and you can see that the sort of blanket rag was thrown askew and is lying discarded on the floor. This looks like to be another mural that you found in the other Acolyte temples. And this mural has, though faded, you can see a lush green land with flowing rivers all leading into a great lake. There's a bunch of orange trees, and there's a large mountain with a shimmering temple atop it. You can also see that there is the canvas bag still lying beside this large piece of stone.
There aren't any, like, towns or anything in the mural?
Not anything that you can really see depicted. It looks mostly like just open nature and wildlife. Other than just this temple, there's no other buildings.
All right, okay. In that case, I am going to look inside the bag.
Yeah. So you open this small canvas bag, and you discover that there is also another priestess's notebook. You open it up, and though it is incredibly smudged and hard to read, like the rest of them, but this one is even more difficult because it is entirely waterlogged. But you can make out a short, single sentence that reads, "They unlocked the door to our doom, and now we were all going to suffer for it."
Wonderful. Very, very heartening. I'm going to place this back, and I'm going to try to crawl out through the window, but first I'm going to check to see if there's anyone outside that can see me.
Yeah, so you peer out the window. It looks like there's nobody really there other than the water genassis that are over still, now facing the opposite direction. They are on the left, sort of like in this, like, moon-shaped walkway back over by the throne room hut.
Okay, I'm going to sneak my way back to the tavern, I guess, and go into the bathroom and change back into my scale mail.
Yeah. You do that. And we'll pop back over to Luna and Benny. You have been going on this little tour. Lotus took you fairly close to the whirlpool where you can see the beginnings of it, but doesn't take you where you could be pulled into it. And is just saying, like, we should definitely go up into Lapis, and you can do so much shopping there. They have the merchant in this village named Caper, and let me tell you, the best jewelry, the best pottery, the best everything.
Do they have any of those fancy bubble craft things that we could have just in case we come in contact with the drowner again?
Oh, no, of course not. Those are strictly for the water genasi divers. It's just really cool technology that we have because we're such an advanced society.
I can appreciate that you need them for the divers, but what about the individual citizens that might need them so that they don't drown? I mean, you are so advanced after all.
Well, thank you for noticing. But no, everybody who lives here knows how to swim, and nobody has to deep dive down to the base of the whole ocean for any reason, other than just the water genasies who do their jobs down there. So we don't have mass quantities. They just live in the barracks, and only every genasi gets one unless it breaks, and then they get another one. But they don't break often. It's sort of just if you drunkenly lose it.
Oh, that's fair. Is the barracks here in Lapis as well?
Oh yeah, there's barracks in each village.
Okay.
Because of course they travel to all of our villages.
Right. So, you've never dove down to the bottom?
No, of course not. The only diving I ever have to do is just simply to check my boat. And I can just hold my breath.
You've never wanted to?
It's not my job. I'm not one of the water genasies.
And all the water genasi here, are they very loyal to your matron?
Of course! Everyone here is so patriotic. We all adore our villages. The water domain, in my opinion personally, and I think it's shared by most of this side of the continent, is that the water spirit really blessed us. And I'm sorry for you guys in the north. I feel like, Earth, what could that really do? But
very
yeah,
cold.
we're very pleased.
Right, but if they're extremely loyal to her, and no one else ever dives to the bottom, how do you know you're not missing out on something?
Well, if we ever needed anything, the water genasies would just provide that, because the matron is so benevolent and amazing.
Right, but what if they aren't giving it because they've been ordered not to, and it might be something important for you to know or to see?
If it was important for us to know, then our matron would tell us.
Sorry for the parade of questions. It's just so different here than it is in Philovin.
I'm sure it's much improved from your conditions over there.
It is very different.
In a good way, I'm sure.
Luna kind of makes eye contact with Benny, kind of like trying to ask a silent question of if we should tell this person what we've done in the other two lands.
Benny, having known Luna for so long, kind of picks up on the plead in her eyes and goes,
We've just seen so much until now, and the world is changing. What would you say if your area here in the water domain changes?
Oh man, to even think about it? I hope we get more rain and so that there's more water. That would be a blessing and a change.
And that is what we will hope for you. Lots of rain.
Yes, lots of rain.
Benny shoots Luna a look like, we say nothing. We say nothing.
our little secret.
Yeah, you can just see Lotus is just kind of looking up at the sky like, all we can do is pray. Well, how about I take you all back to Ivriel and we can get some delicious seaweed ale. And also check on your friend.
Yeah, really wasn't doing well.
That sounds wonderful. I really do think we should check on Anu. Poor thing.
All right, well, double time then.
Okay.
Benny reaches out and squeezes Luna's hands and then whispers to her,
I'm just gonna close my eyes. Let me know when we're there.
You do whatever you need to do to feel better being out here.
Okay. So at that, Lotus starts to speed row back over to Ivriel. And you make it back. Anu, you make it back to the tavern. As you enter, people start to kind of like look at you again like, oh, he's back. Weird kid. Yeah, and you guys all make it back to the tavern. And go back in. And Rain is just sort of waiting with those 3 mugs of seaweed ale that she had already had prepared for you. And sort of like, oh, welcome back. We're so happy to have you.
Happy to be here. I'm gonna go check on you. Actually, Luna, I should have your help. 2 heads are better than 1.
Benny starts pulling Luna towards the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. And last time he was a mess. He needed both of us.
Okay, these will just wait here for you whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. And then, as soon as we shut the door, we get in with Anu. Luna's gonna... And you can tell me if I can do this. I want to cast Thaumaturgy to, like, the sounds for, like, the next minute of just, like, groaning and, like, oh, God, it was so bad. Like, while we're talking in there.
Absolutely you can.
Okay, so she cast that, so we got cover for 1 minute.
Everyone in this place has been drinking too much seaweed ale. They all give me the creeps.
They honestly think that this was a blessing. That their land being absolutely drowned is the best thing that's ever happened.
I mean, it's different than the... Well... Oh, now I'm not so sure. I was going to say it's different than the other cases, but I know in our case, when the Earth Spirit gone, we lost the soil, we lost the seasons. But here, they have an abundance. They have more than what they had.
I just can't help but feel a little off. I live with the happiest person on the face of the earth. And this entire village is like if my dad ate happy pills.
It's a lot. And I can't shake the feeling that there's something down there that the matron doesn't want them to see, and that's why only her Water Genasi warriors people can go down there. There's something down there.
The matron really seems to be the problem with all of this. She's those tithes from other cities, other towns, they're coming to her. What for? What is... She's definitely managed to set herself up as some sort of benevolent ruler and leader, but I've only seen her take, though I suppose we've been here for a half day or so. But I did find another mural.
You did?
Yeah, so what they brought to the council chamber was another mural, and also another priestess book. The mural showed a mountain, and this time the temple was on top of the mountain. Did you hear anything? I mean, so far all the mountains have been, flipped one way or the other, so do you know anything about a underwater big hole?
They did. Do you think something like that would make a whirl... I'm not going to be able to say it. Whirlpool. Do you think something like that would be able to make a whirlpool if, like, the mountain, like, disappeared or something? Because they said that... didn't they say that a new one popped up recently?
Yeah, right outside Lapis. And that's what I was thinking the second Lotus said it. If a cavern opened, it would wind up being like a plug in a drain, and all the water would be pulled down into the cavern.
Right, like a plug in a drain. And what's the opposite of a mountain? A tornado, and what do you call a water tornado? It's a whirlpool. It all makes sense.
Exactly. And Lotus was telling us about these really cool bubblecraft things, and they go up your nose, and then they turn into a helmet, and you can breathe underwater for 8 whole hours. But the only people that get them are the water genasi divers.
But we do know where they keep them. So we might need to do some more sneaking.
Well, I mean, not to brag, but I had a very successful mission, I would say. The priestess's book, though, that thing gave me the heebie-jeebies. It said something about unleashing their doom and sealing their fate, which is normally not what we want to see associated with a temple that we are about to explore. So, whatever we do, I'm assuming we're all down to go down there with those bubble things. Nose plug?
Yeah.
Yeah. We just better stay safe. And I mean, I don't know what's going to work down there. I don't know if our spells are going to work as well down there. It's pretty hard to swing a staff or a mace. I'm a little worried.
Well, I think we should definitely hunker down for the night, get some sleep, and formulate a plan tomorrow morning. I just hope that if we're able to restore the water spirit, that all these people will be released from whatever craziness they're believing. Because I get it that it's a good way of life, but I can't imagine never having touched land, ever.
We should put on a good face, go out there, have some ale, and then maybe spend our evening reevaluating what spells we want to sneak underwater with us.
That sounds like an excellent plan to me.
Yeah. For now, we need to look as happy as possible, and like we are drinking, as you said earlier, the seaweed ale as much as the rest of them.
Precisely.
All right, let's go pretend to love water.
By the way, good job, Anu, on getting that info.
Oh, really? It was nothing. And I mean, it sounds like we would have put it together with the knowledge of the whirlpool, anyways. But it's good that we have both pieces of information, and that way we'll be done that much quicker.
All right, everybody. Big smiles.
So you guys exit the bathroom chamber pot little area. Walk back out, and you see River standing there like, you guys okay? You're in there for a really long time.
Anu's like clutching his stomach like, oh.
Yeah, I think emptied everything out. I think maybe we'd need to get him something light to eat or drink.
Okay.
He loves soups. If you have any soups or stews.
We have the most incredible fish eye soup that ever existed.
Fish eye?
Yeah, it's quite the delicacy.
I'll take one of those. Ugh.
How about we take you one to go and get you into your dwelling for the night?
Yeah, that might be for the best.
Please follow me and try not to relieve any of your internal things on the floor.
Doing my best.
Good. Roll a performance for me.
Oh boy, alright. That will be a... Not one, that's a 4.
Okay.
I was like, I'm good.
I actually have the perfect place for you all to stay. Follow me. And
Oh,
River River takes you to this hut, not super far from the tavern, but leads you and is sort of like, you see over right there? That's the Water Genasy's barracks. They're here to make sure that everyone is safe in this village. And I just want to make sure you all feel very safe in this village, so I'm putting you in the hut closest to them. So we can all have the best sleep tonight, knowing that there are those brave soldiers watching over us. They have the biggest smile on their face, really beaming.
Yes, thank you. Luna's kind of stared at them a little questionably.
Benny is trying to keep up with the seaweed ale Judy smile, and she's smiling so big that one side keeps twitching just a tiny bit.
Okay. Well, please enjoy your hut, and I will check back in with you tomorrow. How does that sound? Bright and early.
Of course.
I should be alright by then. Oh,
I have a feeling you're gonna be just fine.
Oh, I hope so.
Oh, no. Oh, let's get you inside and get you put to bed.
Oh, and just if you had the inclination to wander without a guide, just know that we're all very welcoming here, so you can just ask anyone if you need anything. But if you need anything in particular, quite fast, the Water Genasys are just right there for you. For your protection and convenience, of course.
Thank you again, River, for your welcoming hospitality.
Oh, you're so welcome. And they do this little, like, hand behind them and one hand in front doing a deep, like, bow, and then kind of flourish up and then walk away.
When he walks away and it's like we're kind of alone, I whisper to both of them, was he helping us by telling it, like, I don't know if he knows what we're doing, but that felt almost like, oh yes, here's the barracks.
I mean, either that or he's deeply, deeply suspicious of us, and they don't want us doing anything unusual.
I'm a little torn. Was it helpful or a threat?
Roll an insight.
Not great. 12.
12?
Yeah.
You can't really tell. You really think that it could have been either or.
Am I able to make an insight check?
Sure.
Okay. That's a 26.
Yeah.
It was a threat.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's on our side. I think they're in it with the rest of them. I don't know why I'm still pretending to be sick. That's a hard act to keep up. I don't know if I can do that one again, guys.
Let's go into the hut so that no one pays attention to us.
Right.
Yeah, so you guys go into the hut. It looks really well decorated. There's 3 really beautiful cots in there, one at the very back wall, and then 2 on each side of the room. It looks very cozy. There's a little oil lamp hanging from the ceiling. The comforters look really cozy. There's some nice plush pillows. You can kind of gauge that, like, they're probably stuffed with, like, seagull feathers and goose feathers. So it looks like this was a really well prepared, like, tourist spot. And it just looks really homey.
Are there any windows where we'd be able to see the barracks?
Yeah, there's a window above each bed, so basically same thing as what the council chamber was like. There's 3 windows. It's sort of like, what is the... Well, I guess it's a square. But I was... what's the shape with, like... Is it a hexagon? No. What's the five lines? Oh, no. No.
No, I think that's
Pentagon?
a hex.
Pentagon! Yes!
Oh, that... Okay.
Okay, it's a pentagon-shaped room.
I went to college.
So did I. I don't know. I was a psych major, not a trigonometry person. So it's basically like there's like a wall, and then it slants into two more walls, and then it slants into two more walls, and then a door is like a smaller wall. So each of the beds is on the back three walls, and each of the walls has a window, and there's like the windows right above the beds, but they're just like square holes in the wall. There's no glass or any like barrier.
Okay, so we can see the barracks from here. If we're going to do this, we're going to have to steal those bubble things. We might as well get a look at what the habits are over there.
What the habits are, and then maybe they said that they're always watching, so maybe seeing if there's a patrol that goes by their hut and our hut at a particular time.
It's also about 7 p.m. right now for the day. So with like a little bit of thinking about the functioning of a day, you can kind of gauge that most people will probably be like having dinner right now.
Well, Anu, Luna, what do you think?
I'm trying to think if I could prepare any spells that could let us into the barracks easier, but I'm kind of coming up empty. There's nothing I really have that could work unless I just cast silence, but they're gonna notice that.
Oh, that's right. We talked about looking at our spells, because obviously fire bolts aren't going to work underwater, and pretty much all of my spells that I can have that involve fire because it's cold where we're from. Maybe I can take a look at my spells and see if there's anything that can help.
Wonderful, Luna. You are very talented with that stuff. I'm sure if we all give a think about it, we'll be able to find out something. So then our course of action will be reevaluate spells, keep an eye on the Genasi, head to Whirlpool.
Might have to add stealing a boat.
I think if we just tell Lotus we want to show Anu Lapis, that they'll just take us there, and we can just leap out.
Sounds like a safe bet to me, but how do we get back? If we were jumping out of Lotus's boat, I don't know if they're gonna wait around for us to surface after exploring a whole temple.
Oh, right.
And if the reactions that we've gotten today are anything, we might not want to have to come back here after we restore the water spirit. They might be quite angry.
Yeah, the good news is, if the water gets drained, they're gonna have a hard time getting from town to town. And so will we.
Oh god, they might get stuck in the trees.
And so might we. This could drastically change the landscape. I mean, we have no idea what's going to happen, but what other choice do we have? We can't stop freeing the spirits.
No, not when everything has to be balanced.
We don't know that the change will be that drastic. I mean, look at Philoven. There was still a lot of snow when we left.
That's true. Mm-hmm. It could take years for this amount of water to drain.
Where would it go, really?
That's a good question.
I could try to cause a distraction with some kind of big spell, like spirit guardians, but I don't know how we're gonna get into town after something like that. I don't really have any illusions or anything, and yeah, I'm coming up with blanks. I think we might just have to do an old-fashioned infiltration mission.
Well, for now, let's get some sleep. And regroup in the morning?
All right, do we want to wake up in, closer to midnight or the early morning so that we can potentially sneak into the barracks? Or I guess that doesn't really make sense because they'd all be sleeping then. You're right. We wait for tomorrow?
Wait for tomorrow. And then wing it?
It's worked out for us so far.
Okay. So you guys all head to bed. You get a good long rest. The sun starts to rise around 6 a.m. and you prepare to go and make your attempt at sneaking into the barracks to steal these bubblecraft devices and go to release the water spirit. And with that, we're going to end the episode there.